Hey guys, thanks for tuning in and welcome back to the Talking Shed podcast. Today it's Cody and I.
Yep.
And you don't hear the big diesel engine in the background on this one.
No.
We are in the recording studio, you could call it.
Yep. A place where we have no cell phone reception, so if we miss you, sorry.
Yeah.
We will call you back.
Yep, it's a double-edged sword. It allows us to get the podcast done, but yeah, we have zero reception. It's inside of a steel building, and you know how that goes. But yeah, today is December 4th, so we made it through the Thanksgiving holiday, working our way into Christmas, you know.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the last podcast that we did. Was the last one we did with
Jeff Worley?
Yeah.
Yep. We were down in Columbus and called him, and
Yep.
talked strip till and stuff.
Yeah.
That was a good one, but it's been a while.
Yes.
We're overdue,
Yes,
and
for sure.
we owe the listeners some media. So, you know, for us, you know, it just got wet enough. You know, the fall, you know, just like we had kind of hoped, it did drag on. It stayed dry. The ground, that is, not necessarily the corn.
Right.
High moisture corn all fall.
I was going to say the corn stayed wet.
Yes.
Not too many drying days out there.
That was the story. The story was need more bin space and waiting on dryers and waiting in line.
Yeah.
At the elevator. That was pretty much the tune of the fall.
I had a bunch of guys complaining that all of these elevators were like changing their times as far as when they would accept corn and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was just so sporadic.
Closing early and I
yeah.
know it makes it hard. You know, if you don't have the storage to get that stuff done in a timely fashion. I mean, this fall really, I'm sure, found the weak spots in everyone's storage and logistics of their grain,
sure.
No doubt, because there was a lot of it and it was wet.
Yeah.
So, you know, having a lot of it's great. And if it's dry, you just haul it right in. But if you have a lot of it and it's wet, you've got to, you know, either take the dock or dry it down yourself.
You've got a good propane bill then too.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. So that's what's been going on here. We were able to demo a lot this fall. Hopefully you were able to tune into our YouTube channel and kind of follow along. We did a ton of 5200 and VRT demos.
Yeah, it seemed like that's all we ever got done doing. You know, about every week, somebody was hauling a VRT somewhere to go get it demoed to someone. So we had a lot of success doing it, and
the retention rate.
Not only had a lot of success, but a lot of fun. I mean, the amount of fun that I have just playing in the dirt, it's like I'm a kid back in a sandbox again, you know? So,
yeah, well, it you learn so much.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
You talk for 10 months out of the year about this stuff and what it can do, and then you take it out into the field and get to learn new things about what it can do. You get refreshed on what it can do, and it's really fun to just walk through those steps with the customer. You know, you're walking step for step with him, and he calls in just knowing that he needs a change in his program, and he's leaning on you to supply that change.
Yep.
And so now you have to use the tool to add value and make sure it works. So it's fun to see all that come full circle, and then to hear the customer maybe a year later say, "Man, you wouldn't believe how good them beans were behind that thing." It's like that's what I like to hear. Like knowing that a farmer is combining his beans or corn, and he's watching the yield monitor, and he starts to point at a product that you sold him or you helped him with. Man, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
For sure.
He's like, man, you wouldn't believe it, but after I put those innkeepers on that, you know, I had a guy this year, he said, you know, between knives and injectors, when you sold me that parallel linkage J&M versus my old injector bar, I ran them side by side, you wouldn't believe the yield difference. I'm like, wow, you know, that's cool.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's cool that, you know, they're willing to give you that data back too.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it's only in that specific set area, and, you know, moisture could have been good, but being able to have that comparison and have guys, get back a hold of you and tell you that information is pretty neat.
Yeah.
I kind of had something similar to that aspect. We built I think you put it on the email blast there a couple of times. We built an interseeder bar for a guy to interseed beans with. It had a Henniker seeder on it.
Bunch of row units.
And it had Don row units on it. And he claimed that he had the best beans he ever had this year.
After wheat, he interseeded it into the wheat.
So it was kind of a funky deal to where he was
relay.
Yeah, he did basically relay cropping, but he waited to plant his bean. It was almost like double crop beans, but it was like before double crop beans. So he was able to plant them in June.
Wow. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. Probably right before it turned.
Yep.
But.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it was interesting for sure. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on in my world. I mean,
well, it's amazing how harvest can really slow down us in general. When
it did.
Oh man, just as far as like a lot of guys were just in the combine for a really, really long time.
Yep.
Like a week would go by and it'd be like, okay, well, next week I'll probably go visit some customers. And well, pretty soon you find out, well, everyone you kind of want to visit is either trucking their grain, they're in the combine. And sure, you can go visit with them. And if they would need something specific, we would. But just to kind of go out and cold call and say, hey, what do you need? I'm not going to do that during harvest.
No. They don't want to see us just as much as, we don't want to see them at that time. We know they're busy.
Yeah. So, it is amazing. I mean, once harvest rolls, it slows down a lot. But every day that it slows down, we know that it's going to accelerate that much faster, and it really has the last 10 days. We had a huge flurry of Salford tools go. I mean, I think we did in the last week probably 4 new units, 5 new units maybe.
Yeah.
So
sure.
At least 4, maybe more than that. And so it's been good. We're busy as ever now. Heck, we're probably 3 weeks deep in the shop right now. Between building Salfords, installing Valmars, and then some stock Salfords. We got a lot of work to do.
Got a couple of tender trailers. I've got a tender trailer in there right now that's heading up to Michigan. That's almost done.
Yep.
I'm just waiting on some brackets and hose reel and stuff like that for it. But that thing turned out pretty slick.
Yeah.
So
I did a YouTube video on that thing too.
Yep. And then we've got another one that we actually we basically bought the trailer. What kind of trailer is that?
Neville.
Yeah, it's a Neville trailer, and then we threw some Endurplast tanks on it, and then your dad sold it to a guy here locally, and we're gonna plumb that thing up and get that thing ready to roll. So those things have been pretty good for us.
Oh yeah,
as far as trailers go.
Yeah, well, it's the efficiency thing, the value to the farmer. I mean, anytime you can save time and maximize efficiency, it's a game changer for someone's farm. For sure. And that's what those trailers do. They're slick. You set them up right, and I'm telling you, they can save you so much time. It's unbelievable. And so it takes spraying or side dressing, and it makes it so easy, so fast. It takes a 3-week deal and cuts it in half.
Yeah,
pretty easy.
For sure. I do want to say, we talk about harvest being over with. I mean, there's still some crops out there yet that guys are still harvesting. I know your dad talked to a guy today. He's still got 1,000 acres of corn left to go. That's up north in Michigan. I'm trying to think of exactly where that's at. I want to say it's in between Sturgis and Kalamazoo. Yeah, I believe is where it's at.
Yeah, up that way. But there's still some corn out there, no doubt. I mean, in our area overall, it's pretty well done. Yeah, manure's hauled and stalks are broke down.
You get out west into Indiana a little further south. There's still some corn out there, but I think it's just guys just waiting on the dryer and waiting on when they can take it in and all that good jazz.
So before we get off of the fall harvest topic, how many VRTs do you think we've retailed since September? You know, I have a lot of guys say, well, you know, this is kind of a newer tool, and I'm a little leery because it's new. It's going to be 3 years old in February. And, you know, well, have you sold any? Just this fall, since September.
I bet it's close to, I'd say at least 10, probably 10 to 15.
Yeah, I'd say it's closer to 15. Yeah, just real quick, I think I can think of 6 that I sold.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I sold two, I think. Hunter sold 2. Seth sold 1 or 2, I think.
Yeah, that puts us around 12
Yeah.
already. Yeah. It was the retention rate on those things. You go demo a VRT and you're going up against a John Deere or a Kraus or a Great Plains, man, it's fun. And I've went head to head with a lot of tools, and it's not very often that I can confidently say, hey, can you go hook up to your X tool and bring it out here and we'll run them side by side. I mean, that's saying a lot.
We did a lot of that this year.
Oh, man, and I'm telling you, we put that thing to the test. And another thing that we'll get on here in a second is just the amount of residue we had to fight through. But we ran, you and I both physically watched a Kraus 8010 or a John Deere 2660 or a 2680 and maybe even a Terramax run side by side with the VRT.
Yep.
And it was almost comical.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the object of a lot of guys' operation was to be able to stale seed bed into that and bury some residue. Well, with the amount of residue that we had, that VRT was the only tool that incorporated any residue. Everything else just skated on top.
Oh, I mean, skate is the big word, you know, because, you know, you got to run those tools, but you have to be able to pin those stalks down.
Right.
Because you run over that and start breaking some stalks loose, and you're just going to have a lot of stuff blowing around. And that anymore, that's topic number 1 or 2. When you're talking to a guy about fall tillage, he's like, I want something that's aggressive enough to pin the stalks down, but I want to be able for it to mellow out. And if I have to make a light pass in spring, sure.
Yep.
But overall, I want it to be kind of stale seed bed-ish. And, man, there was a couple times that we would run a green tool or an orange tool over it, and it was like, man, you almost couldn't even tell that it had ran.
No.
And I think it's just because those, and I'm not picking on any tool or anything like that, but I think it needs to be known. Guys want to know that. I want what's best for the farmer, and if I'm running tools side by side, and I did a video on it and showed the side by side comparisons, and I just showed them. I just said, hey, this, we dug here, and this is what we're finding here, and this is what we're finding here. You make the conclusion for you what works on your farm, but this is what I'm seeing.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's a tool. It's making its presence known. That's for dang sure. Yeah. And I had a lot of deals where I'd sell one to a guy, and then his neighbor would buy one. Yeah. And then his neighbor would buy one. And then their neighbor would buy one, because it's a tool that literally like wildfire, because it just spreads. So we're excited about it, but we talk about that tool a lot, so I don't want to get on it too much. But this heavy residue, I think it was, that stalk was just still so alive. It was still green. There was moisture coming out of it. The corn was wet. And man, there was like 5 inches of stuff. 5-inch mat of residue.
Yeah, I mean, the majority of the stuff that we were working through, I mean, we were cutting through, 4 or 5 inches of residue in order to get down to dirt. And we were like, we would set a tool and we're like, all right, we make a pass, and we're like, that didn't even do anything. Right.
Yeah, it was nasty. And I did a video just over the weekend or late last week about steps that I seen. So when we were demoing the VRTs, we got the that's another thing when you said we had fun doing demos. This is another thing that I enjoy. You get to see all the different ways that guys manage the residue. Mm-hmm. So we ran into guys who did nothing with their corn head. Mm-hmm. We had guys who had aggressive stalk rolls and devastators. Mm-hmm. And it is amazing the difference, mm-hmm. On guys who had aggressive stalk rolls like the Calmers, and then we're also run the Devastator, mm-hmm. night and day.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the residue is just so much easier to work through, having Calmer rollers and the Devastators. I mean, that stalk was broken. Yeah. Cracked. It had a chance to dry out a little bit quicker than what the rest of it did. And, I mean, you could tell getting onto a guy's farm real quick if what he had, even if he just had a Devastator. I mean, I think those two play a good hand in each other's. I mean, they pat each other on the back for sure. Yeah,
I would definitely agree. But that's a lot of what we had happen this fall. A lot of cool projects going on. The shop is humming, and we're glad that the floor heat works in there. That's for sure. Yep. The floor heat and the overhead crane.
Yeah, last week that was a little chilly at the beginning of the week, but it was still it was still pretty cold. Yeah. But we also don't live in Minnesota, so I'm thankful for that too.
Right. Yeah. I looked at the 14-day forecast, and it's 40s and 50s.
Yeah, super odd.
Through the 18th of December, which, if you remember last year, our big cold snap was right there around Christmas time. Yep. When it was like negative 30. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We had a semi truck driver show up wearing, was he wearing shorts, or was it just sweatpants?
It was just sweatpants and tennis shoes.
Sweatpants and tennis shoes. Yep. It was literally negative 30 wind chill. Yep. And he got out of the semi truck wearing that. I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, not only that, he also had a blown tire.
A blown tire that was literally just sliding on the ice on the road.
And he had no idea.
Well, we told him.
Yeah.
And he contemplated on what to do. And we were like, man, we don't really have the tools to get that done. Like, we could take the tire off. But right. Like, once that's done, we can't
really do much.
And we told him about it. He sat in his truck and thought about it for a while. And he ended up just leaving, and he drove to Michigan.
Yep, he fired.
With dragging a tire, a flat tire. Yep. He just said, "Screw it, I'm going." Mm-hmm. And that was crazy. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that's all we talked about for a week.
Oh man, it was great. But I won't forget that. But that was my favorite part of the cold snap was that truck driver. He brought a load of BBI spreaders. Yeah, and we had to.
We unloaded them that day.
In the cold.
I remember his binders were all froze up and everything. Yeah. He'd just take his bar and whack them, and
the ice would fall off.
Shatter. Yeah.
Yep, that was frigid.
Mm-hmm.
But, so your Magnum bar that we talked about that you sold, that thing headed to Iowa.
Yes, it did.
60-foot 3-point.
Yep,
last week. That's a big project we had going on.
Yeah, that was... I wish it didn't take as long as what it did, but a big project like that, there's always going to be that one or two piece thing that you don't have, and
you never know that you need it until you get to that point.
Exactly.
Those little hidden things that you can't think about.
Exactly. But no, it was we got her put together, and we put her on the truck, I think there Tuesday, and he got it Thursday. So
yep, headed to Iowa.
Yep,
60-foot, 23-row Magnum, and I'm getting ready to send one tomorrow, a used one, to Kansas.
Yep.
Yetter 10,000 Magnum. He was running a John Deere 2510H and kept breaking the blades or something like that, breaking the hubs, breaking the blades. And he called, and we're sending him a 17-row. So Magnums have been pretty good lately, which in a area where anhydrous is kind of taking a dive, it's that's good. Yeah. Overall, strip till was pretty hot this fall. We got Dwayne's bar up and running. That Ag Guru bar. Yep. Remember we did a podcast with Bill Preller.
Yes.
Bill came out, helped us get that Ag Guru bar going, and man, I have more faith in that bar, and unit than I have ever had.
Well, I mean, Dwayne put her to the test, going corn on corn strips. Well, I mean, basically what this grower does, he's making strips in his corn to plant his twin row beans in, because he does twin row beans, and then he also he runs all of his ground in strip till is what he does. So putting that row unit to the test with the amount of residue that we had and how well he got along, I was honestly really, really impressed with that unit.
Yeah, it did good. It did real good.
Yeah.
So we got that project done. We're working on some more. I think me and maybe Brent are going to head to Florida in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
And we're going to install a Valmar cover crop seeder on a sunflower tool. I went down to Florida probably 3-4 years ago and installed a seeder at a big dairy, Alliance Dairy, on a Case 330. And their neighbor, White Oak Dairy, called and said, "Hey, I see Alliance over there," and I talked to them, and we want you to come down and install one on our tool. And I said, "Heck yeah!" The best part is when I went there 4 years ago, it was in July, and it was so blazing hot. It was horrible. We worked all night. It was still over 100 degrees, and you'd get out of the truck and literally you struggled to breathe. The air was so thick, and even at night. And well, we're going here in the next couple of weeks. It'll be mild. It'll be 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
It'll be great. So
yeah, that'd be all right.
Yep. I always wondered why they raised cattle, dairy specifically in Florida, but it's just because of the water availability. Their water table's so shallow that you just drill a well everywhere you need water. They got pivots everywhere, and 20 feet down, you've got water. So they just run misters on all the cattle. So yeah, I mean, you think about cattle, your most important nutrient is water. And then you think about they can run under pivots. They can grow two crops of corn a year, two good crops, not like 1.5, two good ones under pivots. And so feed availability is extremely high. So yeah, it's a totally different world. I never would have dreamed. We're going like right in between. Draw a line between Jacksonville and
Tallahassee?
No, what's the white sand beach up on the?
Oh, Panama.
No, yeah, Panama, I guess, but there's another one.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
anyway,
about. Like Gulf Shores or something like that?
No, draw a line between like Jacksonville and Panama City, and that's kind of where we're going. So it's down in there just a little bit. But so yeah, we're getting ready to do that. Got some tender trailers going. So yeah, it's been good. We kind of hit the road again there last week, catching customers. So that's been good. We've, I don't know, in the last couple weeks, I've probably made 60 to 80 stops, I would say, going out on the road 6-8 times, seeing, 10 guys a stop or a day. We had a nice Thanksgiving meal in here. Yeah. The other day, Wednesday before Thanksgiving. That was great. The local bowling alley catered that. That was nice.
Yeah. Yeah, we had turkey, mashed potatoes, corn, noodles, chicken and noodles, everything. It was very good.
Yeah, it was. But then we had to try and work after that. Yeah. That was tough. They had pie.
Yeah, had to go hide from your dad.
Yeah. Yep. Trucking's been good. Grandpa went out and he bought a new semi.
Yeah.
He, well, it would be nice. There have been many times where we needed to. And of course, Grandpa took on the task of finding a new tractor. And he found, I haven't seen it yet, but I hear it's black, jet black.
You mean semi?
Yeah.
Tractor?
It's a semi-tractor. That's what they call them. Yeah, I know. You were asking me the other day, too.
That's why I was wondering.
It's a semi-tractor, trailer.
I see.
Yeah, like he didn't go buy a tractor.
Not
not like a field tractor. It's a semi-tractor.
Gotcha. Yep. I see. Yeah, that's why I was confused.
Yeah, he bought a tractor.
I see.
Yep.
I see.
So it's black. It's got the tandem axle. But yeah, there's many times where, because we've got a detached trailer and a hitch that slides into the gooseneck, a retriever hitch. And it would be nice to have two so you don't always have to swap. In fact, that's what they're out there doing right now. Yeah. Grandpa just got back and they're taking the hitch off and putting the trailer on. So
yep.
So yeah, that's what we've been up to. Cody, I know you're just salivating over there. to get into the hunting side of this podcast. Just dying. I can see it.
What do you mean?
I can see it. You're like, all right, enough of this equipment talk. We need to talk about hunting.
I mean, they don't want to hear us talk about equipment. They want to hear us talk about deer hunting. I mean, that's just what it is.
Man.
You know, so, but no, well,
what do you want to talk about first?
I don't know. I don't know.
We've had a lot of hunting adventures. So Ohio's gun season was last week, all week.
Yep.
And it was good. It was so frigid there the first couple of days.
Yep.
Yep.
It was successful for sure. I was lucky enough to harvest a doe with my muzzleloader during gun season. She was about 110 yards and put a pretty good shot on her. She ran about another 150 and just died right on the fence row. And
there's just something about shooting a muzzleloader.
I don't know what it is, but
that's primitive.
One of my favorite guns.
Oh, it's as close as archery hunting, in my opinion, as you can get with a gun.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep. One shot. And
yep.
I feel like it's the most ethical.
Yeah.
One of the most ethical ways to harvest an animal.
Yeah, I mean, it puts it to them. Yeah. So, yeah, that was the first, Monday of gun season?
Yeah.
The first
day?
She
was a horse.
Yeah, she was big. Yeah. Big doe. Yep, I heard you shoot, and at that time when I heard you shoot, I didn't really know that you had the muzzleloader.
Yeah.
And so I only heard one shot. I was like, okay, that should be pretty good. I had Luke and Zayden with me, and we were like, yeah, that sounded good. And I eventually texted you and asked you if you'd shot, and you just said, yes, I did. And that was it. And I was like, either is that like a yes, I did, like I shot a deer, or yes, I did, like don't ask any more questions because I missed. And so whenever we walked up there, you were going through the field looking at blood. And so the boys got to help with the recovery. That was fun.
Yep.
Well, I had Lane with me too.
Yeah. Luke and Lane.
Oh, yeah. So that was fun. Oh, yeah. Hunting is, it's cool to shoot animals and stuff, but if you're doing it by yourself, it ain't even any fun. Ain't. I mean, I used to deer hunt a lot by myself and shot a lot of deer. It was fun. I learned a lot about hunting and deer, but man, like when you shot that doe Monday, it was you, me, Zayden, and two of my boys. I mean,
there's nothing better.
They were tracking the blood. Yep. We found the deer. Oh man, we hung it up. Yeah, they'll remember that forever.
Oh yeah,
they don't get any better than that.
For sure.
If you had to do that on your own, be like, whatever.
Yeah,
shot a deer.
That's not why I do it. I do it because we have fun doing it together. That's the only reason why I like to do it. I mean, granted, would I go deer hunting by myself? I mean, yeah, I would, but
and I still do quite a bit, but it's a lot more fun when you've got other people with you.
So
plus you need help dragging. I mean,
well, yeah, because you don't shoot anything.
That's right. I'm scoreless as of right now, which is rare. But hey, I love the late season. I'm waiting on some snow.
This is true.
And it'll be good.
Well, I mean, you're only going to be able to hunt one day of muzzleloader season. So
that's all I need. One evening. One evening.
Listen to you.
And we'll be on the board here.
Listen to you.
We'll be on the board. Let's talk about the other stuff though. The good stuff.
The oat hunting, man.
The coyote hunting, man.
The oat hunting.
Man, I know we talk a lot about how we like coyote hunting stuff. It's unbelievable. If you've never experienced, I think it starts with this. It starts with calling an animal, like whether it's a deer, a coyote, a raccoon, a fox, an elk, whatever it is. Calling an animal and convincing it that it needs to come to you, and and you are tricking that animal in its own natural habitat. That in itself is huge. It's a rush to know that you're taking an animal that survives in the wild on its own, hunts for its food, and you're tricking that animal. I mean, that's the ultimate, right? So just to do that. But if you've never then done it at night with thermals and a call, man, It is unbelievable. My heart's starting to increase in rate just talking about it.
I don't know what it is, but the whole concept of you're the predator hunting the predator for me is what it's all about.
Yeah.
Like I love that. Like there's like, and you're able to just see them kind of hop through the field too, and you're watching them.
Well, and not only that, we love to deer hunt.
Oh,
and guess who loves deer?
Yeah.
The coyotes.
Mr. Yote.
Yep. And so it's cool because we coyote hunt where we deer hunt. So it's like, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
And it was crazy.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
Let's talk about that night. It was a little over a week ago because it was on a Friday.
Yeah.
It was the day after Thanksgiving.
Yep. We decided go down. We talked about going down there and deer hunting. We were like, we won't go down there and deer hunt. We'll just go down there and coyote hunt. The original plan was to deer hunt that morning, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. But
the morning after coyote hunting.
The morning after coyote hunting, but we'll
right.
get into that a little bit later. But no, we started out, like Adam said, we deer hunt down in Columbus, and so that's where we went. And we called the first one in. We were probably maybe a half hour into the first one, and seen him coming, and I shot him, and he did the death twirl and laid down, and ended up shooting him again because he got back up and shot him again, and we never did end up finding him, but that's definitely a dead dog for sure. And then so we were there, and we probably messed around a little bit longer than what we should have, and then we went to another spot, and within we get set up and everything, and we set the call up, and I'm on the gun, and we fire up the call, and we get one that calls back to us that we literally just walked by.
Instantly response.
Instantly. I mean, we're talking within
2 seconds.
Not even 2-3 seconds, and
responds with a howl that just makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up.
And you and I just look at each other and we're like, dude, that thing's within 125, 150 yards of us.
The biggest thing was I just didn't know what to do.
Right. We were just sitting there. We're like,
we were kind of pinned.
Yeah.
Like when that happens, you're kind of pinned. Like there's not much you can do because you don't want to go back into calls because you're so close.
Right.
And you almost can't do anything because there was a standing cornfield between the two of us.
Yep.
So what that means is we cannot see that dog with our thermals.
No.
So that means the only way for us to see that dog through thermals is it has to come through the cornfield and stand in the cut bean field that we're in.
Yep.
Well, we're right on the edge. So as soon as that dog comes out, we probably won't even get a shot.
Right. Right. Which is what ended up happening.
Exactly what
happened.
But
so he, like Adam said, he responded back to us, and I'm like, dude, there's something in the corn. And
yeah, we could hear something running.
It was like running through the corn. Adam thought it was a deer, and I'm like, dude, that thing is about ready to eat us. And it popped right out of the corn and seen us right away, and it was probably maybe 15 yards from us. That was pretty cool. But
and it was the coyote. What happened was we always start off the stands with a howl, and what you're doing with that is you're looking for a response, and that's what happened. Well, they're territorial, and so they heard an unfamiliar howl, and so what happened was that coyote just said, hey, you're in my bedroom, you just howled, I'm coming, and we're going to duke this out right now. And so that coyote charged the call and came running through that cornfield 100 yards. We could hear it, here it comes closer and closer, and we're like, well, I thought it was a deer, and here it comes, popped out, and boom, it was gone as fast as it came because it was too close.
Well, the moon was full that night, so we seen it come out of the corn.
Yeah, and
without the thermal.
Yeah.
But, so that one kind of ran away, and Adam and I were kind of looking at each other, and we're like, should we keep calling? And I'm like, yeah, we know there's more here. So we kept calling, and a pair of them came out after that. And they came out, and they were working their way to get downwind of us, and I ended up popping one in the chest and dropping it right there at about 150. And was messing around, waiting on the other one, and
the other one knew something was up.
Yeah,
it winded us.
Yeah, the other one either winded us or something along those lines. But no, we were successful there. We should have ended up killing about 5 of them, but
we called in a total of 8 that night.
Yeah, we
got 8
got
coyotes.
We got burnt on one.
We got burnt on a few. I mean, those things. The thing is, you don't know where they're going to come from.
Yeah,
and so chances are they're going to come downwind. Mm-hmm. They're going to come from the downwind side. Well, when you're scanning and all of a sudden, boom, you see a coyote and they're on the downwind side, you've got about 5 seconds before that coyote either sees you, hears you, or just doesn't feel right about the situation. Yep. Exactly. So it's kind of a timing thing. You know, you can't just sit there and say, well, we'll just kind of wait for it to get closer. Yep. Well, their nose is so incredible. I mean, they're dogs, and it's night, so they can't see. They're using their nose to see. So they're going to wind you. Yep. They're going to wind you extremely quick, very fast. So you see one, guarantee you he's circling downwind and the clock's ticking. So, we called in a few that, as we got through the night, it started to get 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. We're kind of tired. We're like, well, let's just set up here. Well, we should not have set up there, because as soon as a coyote comes out, it's going to wind us instantly. Yep. And that happened a couple times. So, we called in a couple pairs and called in a total of 8, killed 3. That ain't bad for a couple rookies, and only one gun too. Yeah. Like, if we had another guy on stand with a gun, that would be helpful. But I run the call and go through the calling sequence, and then I'm a spotter, and Cody's also scanning with his gun too, and he's got his gun on a tripod, and so I'll be like, oh, Cody, right over here to the left, and he'll swing over, and we got all of them on video. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Thermal that records. So. Yep. So yeah, we actually went through like 4 or 5 different locations, and then we stayed at an Airbnb that night. And so we're like, well, let's go back to our very first stand, because heck, it had been 5 hours since we had called it. So we go back there to where we killed that first dog and called in 2. And it just tells you how much them coyotes move at night. Well, by the time we got back to our Airbnb and in bed, it was after 5 a.m. So we did not deer hunt that morning. No. We actually talked about staying up all night and then just going out and sitting in the deer stand, and I'm like, I'm glad we didn't. We've got Thanksgiving today. We're going to get yelled at. Yeah, so we were more worried about getting yelled at by our wives. Yeah, so we just slept until about 8:30, and we headed for home, because we had Thanksgiving at noon, and so yeah, it was a good time, man. Yeah. I enjoy, we obviously work hard at what we do, selling equipment and helping farmers. But, man, when that sun goes down, it's game on some dogs. It just works out for us, because both of us have kids, and it's like, all right, the kids are in bed, so is the wife. All right, let's go. We're rolling. Yeah, it works out well until we get out to like 2 a.m. Yeah. And then it's like, what are we doing? Yeah. And then you wake up the next day, and it's like, we look at each other and we're like, I'm a little tired. And you're like, yeah, me too. Yep. But no, that's fun. It's a blast, actually. So if you ever have a chance to watch a coyote come running into your call, man, it don't get any better than that. So I will say we've got a total of what? We've killed 6 now? Yeah. 6 of them now. 5 of them have been at night, and 1 of them in the daytime. Yep. We need to add a fox to our lineup this year. That is going to happen. Yep, fox. So. Yep, get us a nice red fox. Yep. Yep. So. It'll be good. It'll be a lot of fun. Yep. Well. Creeping up on 40 minutes. Yep. I'd say, I appreciate everyone listening. This is something that we need to do more often. I listen to some podcasts myself, and I know when they release, episodes, we need to get on a rhythm. Get
we need kind of like a schedule or something.
Get these listeners some more. But we just need to record, get Worley on the horn, get Bill Preller back in here, Dave Gunkelman, and Lee. And
we need to work on trying to get some other guys in the industry maybe.
Yep. There's plenty of them. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we've been doing. Things are rolling. I think the month of January is going to be on fire in the equipment sales world. I think the end of the year is going to be average. But I think January is going to be where it's at. And we'll see. Wheat was up big today. Wheat's up over 620 on the board today. So, that's good. And so, yeah, things are rolling. We've got some used equipment to sell. But, it's a lot of good tillage pieces, and I think it'll sell just fine.
Yeah.
We got a lot of applicators coming. We've got some applicators sold, a lot of Y-drop bars sold.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know you guys are pricing out some Deutsch tractors right now. You and Dad are each pricing one.
Yeah.
So those are rolling.
Pricing out a couple of them. So yeah, we're the Deutsch thing is really coming along. I tell you what,
it takes so much time.
Everything
for everything to roll and get good, it takes time.
Yep. And I tell you what, the more and more you get in those things, and the more you familiarize yourself with them,
they're elite.
Yeah, they are. I mean, you put them up against all of them. I mean, they're just as good as what every other color is. Yep. I mean, yeah, everybody's got their own little bells and whistles that are a little bit different, and Deutsch does have that, but comparing them across the board, I mean, they're just as elite as what everyone else is.
Yeah, they're a good tractor. So, but yeah, you pick up a new line, it takes so long to get familiar with it, to learn how to sell it, to learn parts lookups, and it's going to take a long time. It took us 8 years to be pretty solid at Salford. Yeah. And it's going to take us just as long to be good as at Deutsch. So it's a long-term deal. I don't care what happens on year 1 through 5.
Right.
I mean, just keep plugging away, and because it's a long game.
Yeah, I mean, you really think about it, we're not even 6 months into it.
Yeah.
I mean,
and if one of these 2 tractors falls, that'll be number 4.
Right.
So that's good.
Yep.
We're going to keep rolling with them.
For sure.
For sure. All right. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll have another podcast coming up for you shortly.
Yeah.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Yep.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.